So wow, I feel so much better. I mean, really feel so much better.
I can see the difference.
Yeah.
Come join me on this journey as I have an unforgettable afternoon, guided by Charles Monroe Jr., learning and experiencing the magic of the Harmonic Egg, a light and sound resonant chamber.
All right, I'll see you in 50 minutes.
Okay.
And the BioWell device, which gave me an inside look at my body's energetics.
They say they can feel the energy from the parking lot.
Wow.
When I first encountered one in South Carolina, I could feel it when I walked into the room. It felt like a rhinoceros was over there. I had to touch it. I told the owner, can I touch it? I wasn't expecting that. I could feel the energy coming off of it. It has an energetic field. You have an energetic field. So everything about you is in your energetic field. So when you make adjustments to your energetic field, that could show up emotionally, psychologically, physically. Mm-hmm. And this wants to harmonize with you.
Wow. Wow, holy moly, that was great.
37 to 51. That's a lot. Your chakras at 90% alignment. But the way it blew up, I mean, it went from 3.5 and just exploded. I mean, it was like a planet. It's at 5.4.
Wow.
It only needs to be that big. It really worked well. Your average energy is 5.
This Harmonic Egg treatment completely surpassed my expectations. I felt totally rejuvenated after my session, but it was the days that followed that I experienced the greatest surprise as I was energized, high-spirited, and clear-headed. The ability to measure my energy level before and after my session was the perfect confirmation of how and why I felt the way I did. All of this with just an initial session. The benefits and insights I received were huge. This is KarmaHub, exploring vibrational healing, wellness, and the practitioners that offer it.
I found out about the egg back in 2017.
Okay.
On Regina Meredith. She has a show on Gaia, but she also has a YouTube channel. So I subscribed to her YouTube channel, and that's when I saw Gail Lynn, who was the inventor of the Harmonic Egg.
Right.
And she has some pretty fantastic stories that she had about some healings. In particular, the ones with the kids stood out with me. So the technology and the concepts weren't foreign to me. I was into sound healing. I understood how that worked. I was dabbling in color therapy at the time, actually. So I knew how that worked. And even Reiki. So I knew how.
So you were going down this rabbit hole.
Yes.
And this is what topped it off, I guess.
Yes. Some interesting things happened with this. Gail, the inventor, she always says the egg picks you. And I went down to South Carolina to get in one. I wanted to get in one before I invested in it. So I drove all the way to Bluffton, South Carolina to get in the egg. And then I did 2 remote sessions after I left there. And I was skeptical about everything, especially the remote sessions. But I did 2 at my house. And that was a Saturday morning. I had one neighbor building a shed. The other one was building something in his garage. All this racket going on. So I'm like, how is this going to work? My picture's in an egg in South Carolina. How is this going to work?
So the egg, you can have remote sessions with the eggs?
Yes. I have clients all over the world. Yes.
That's so interesting.
Yes.
Because, I mean, to me, it seems like an amazing chamber of relaxation and, music, sound therapy. Light therapy. And then how does that translate virtually?
Well, we put your picture in there.
Okay.
And then we write your name on the back.
Gotcha.
And then your date, birth date, and then your intention. So in terms of identifying you, it's the picture, your name, birth name. Has to be your birth name when you were perfect, when you came into the world.
Okay.
And your maiden name. But what I understood, and I have a physics background, so I took quantum physics, differential equations, all that stuff, and I took religion at the same time, and I started to see the connections between the two.
Wow.
So it just was saying the same thing, 2 different languages. But one thing I remember studying is that there are a lot of indigenous cultures who will not let you take that picture because they understand that there's an element of their energy signature in the picture.
I've heard that. Yes.
Yes. And that's the premise that this works on. It's all about energy. So this shape is actually called a dodecagon. So dodeca just means 12. So you see these panels, there's 12 of them all the way around. So it's actually more shaped like a football.
Okay.
I tell the guys it's a football. They don't want to get in the egg. I tell them it's a football. Right? And it is. It's not like it's small on one side like an egg. It's actually shaped more like a football.
Okay.
But it creates an energetic field.
So it's also based on sacred geometry.
Yes.
Is that right?
That dodecagon shape is a sacred geometrical shape. So this is not really new to the planet. They would build these underground in this shape, and it'd be a hole. So when the sun came around, the sun would shine through. So that was your light therapy, and they had this shape as the sacred geometry. They just didn't have the audio portion of it.
Gotcha.
So it's not really new to the planet. This is just a new version of it.
Well, it looks amazing. I can't wait to hop inside. That's going to be quite the experience, I'm sure.
Yes. The whole premise of this is this sacred shape creates an energetic field. So there's a yoga studio 2 doors down. I have a couple of them. They wave hi to her in the morning because they can see it from the street. They say they can feel the energy from the parking lot.
Wow.
When I first encountered one in South Carolina, I could feel it when I walked into the room. It felt like a rhinoceros was over there. I had to touch it. I told the owner, can I touch it? I wasn't expecting that. I could feel the energy coming off of it. It has an energetic field. You have an energetic field. So everything about you is in your energetic field. So when you make adjustments to your energetic field, that could show up emotionally, psychologically, physically. And this wants to harmonize with you. And it's based on that premise of nature wanting to reach a homeostasis. So I tell everybody it's 3 levels of entrainment that's happening here. And entrainment, the way they taught that in school, would say you have a room full of small grandfather clocks. All the pendulums are doing their own thing, right? You put a big grandfather clock in that room. You come back a couple days, all the pendulums have synced with the big grandfather clock. The reason why that happens is because nature wants to reach a homeostasis. So there's this negotiation or this harmonizing, hence the word harmonic egg, this harmonizing going on during those 2 days where they sync up. The interesting thing is, it's very easy to explain this to women. Because I always use the example, because we call that rhythmic entrainment. So they all know this. They start a job, and there's a bunch of women working there. They come in as the new girl, and the next thing she knows, her cycle has synced with all the other women that already worked there. And in that system, they're the dominant group. They're the big grandfather clock.
I see.
She's the small grandfather clock. And they all know that happens. They don't know why. It's because nature wants to reach a homeostasis. It wants balance. And there's this negotiation that's going on biologically with them. And then it syncs. This is what's happening in here. And that's happening even on the sound level. That's all sound therapy really is. Each chakra has a particular note that it responds to. Like root chakra responds to the note C. So if I had a tuning fork or a singing bowl, I would put that near the root chakra. I'd get a tuning fork that's tuned to the note C. I would put that near the root chakra. And in that system, that tuning fork is the big grandfather clock because it's dominant. It's a fixed frequency. It's not going to change. Your root chakra may be out of balance. And it's literally learning from it. It's in training. There's this harmonizing that's happening between the two. Same thing with light. I would shine red light on your root chakra. And it's not so much that the light is red, it's the frequency at which the photons are bombarding the chakra is what the chakra is responding to. So it's all frequency, even with sound. Sound is just air. It's just air molecules moving at a certain frequency. So the chakra is responding to the frequency at which those air molecules are bombarding the chakra. So it's all about frequency. Maybe different mediums, air molecules versus photons, but it's frequency. And we just so happen to see that color is red.
Gotcha.
Another animal may see it as another color.
So yeah, one of the things that I was thinking about is that maybe there was some sort of entrainment that occurred when you were inside the egg. I know some type of entrainment takes place, but are you actually trying to put the mind in a particular sort of theta state or beta state, or is it just something kind of completely different?
Well, no, actually all of the above, actually. So the first session in here, is always to reset your autonomic nervous system. And that's to get you out of any kind of fight or flight that you may be in.
Gotcha.
And in doing so, we limit the colors that we use for that first session. We limit that to purple, blue, or green. Now, you can only do 2 colors at a time in here. So just in my talking to you, I can discern whether you always use purple, but we may switch back and forth between blue and green. People who have severe depression issues, like they've actually tried to harm themselves, we don't put them on blues.
So this is interesting. So you said just by talking to me, you can tell that I could likely use a particular color.
Yeah, well, in that instance, yeah, because
Okay.
the question I'll ask is, have you ever had any severe depression where you actually want
Okay.
to harm yourself?
Gotcha.
And if it's a yes to that, I will not use blue.
I have down days, but I don't have anything severe, fortunately.
And this is severe. So that's the thing. This is a very powerful device. So that's why there's a lot of questions involved. I sent you an intake form. There's a lot of information we asked for. For instance, if we have someone that has a history of epilepsy, we will actually turn down the lighting, turn down the sound, so it's not so sensational for them.
Now, I actually do have claustrophobia, so I'm curious to see how this affects me.
Well,
Because typically, small spaces and me don't get along, right?
I've had the whole spectrum of claustrophobia. I've had people who are claustrophobic, they can't get in the elevator. But for some reason, they can get in here. I get them in here, and they say, well, this feels like an airplane. The ones who have severe claustrophobia, I just close it until they tell me to stop. And you still get the full benefit of it. I have some, it's almost completely open.
So I read somewhere or heard somewhere when I was doing a little research on all this. Well, so this is made of, I believe, maple and birch.
Yeah, either one. I think whatever's available.
When you're inside and you're listening to music or whatever it is, the resonant quality of this chamber is really, it's like being on the inside of a acoustic guitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
The acoustics
And I was like,
amazing.
I'm into that. I'm going to
Yes.
try it out.
The psychoacoustics in there are amazing.
Okay.
There's certain frequencies that'll hit and the sound sounds like it's right in front of you. Like literally right in front of you. Even though the speaker's on either side and there's a subwoofer under you.
Gotcha.
So we have a lot of music with didgeridoo in it. And we use that for inflammation because that didgeridoo induces kinetic energy in the body.
Wow.
So a lot of inflammation is energy that's stuck, it's not moving. And it gets that energy moving. And if a lot of people come out, they say, I felt like I was floating. They literally ask me, was the chair attached?
Really?
I felt like I was floating.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes. So you get that kind of feeling in it because of this shape, you get these scalar wave nodes being created. And it's almost like you're in a resonance chamber. It's reaching one big resonant frequency. So this whole thing is vibrating and you feel like you're vibrating with it, like you're being lifted, depending on the song we use. So it's different songs we use for different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the BioWell?
So the BioWell is completely different technology. Has nothing to do with the Harmonic Egg. It's something I saw the inventor, Dr. Karakov, on probably on Gaia a long time ago. And I saw him using this and it fascinated me. He's Russian and I think the origins of this is KGB used to use this as lie detection. It's almost like a form of kinesiology. So, and it's still used like that today. You have people who use it, they have like these bridles that they put over your neck. And there's a little pouch that sits right where your heart chakra is. And they may take a pill and put it in the bridle, and then you'll scan your ring fingers only. And you look at the stress level, and it's telling them how your body is reacting to that pill or that supplement.
Wow.
So with the KGB user, they'd ask you a question, and then they'd scan both of your ring fingers to test your stress. It's almost like a lie detection test. So
Yeah, so biofeedback devices have been around since, I think, the 50s.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're pretty amazing what they can, like, see or assess within your body based on kinesiology, I guess.
So what the BioWell is doing, it's based on Kirlian photography. So Kirlian photography, he had what's called a gas discharge visualization camera, and he would take a picture of a leaf, and he could see the aura around the leaf. What's happening here is I'm scanning all 10 of your fingers, and I'm basically looking at the aura around each finger. Different sections of that aura is telling me different things about you. So I can see all of your chakras, I can see your stress level, I can see your energy level. Wow. I can see how your body's distributing that energy throughout all of your systems. And it's based on the meridians, the same meridians that we use in acupuncture. All your meridians terminate at your appendages, your fingers, your toes. That's what reflexology is. You know, it's because they terminate down there. You can actually access so much information about the body from the feet. You could do the same thing from the fingers. Even the teeth, actually. They terminate at your teeth as well. So we're just looking at it where it terminates at the fingers.
Okay.
And it's just like the same meridians they use in acupuncture, acupressure.
Okay.
But we're looking at the aura as they terminate. So the only drawback to it is if you have long fingernails, it's not as accurate.
Really?
So I literally have a set of clippers sitting right next to it because the women come in and they want the information so bad they literally cut their nails right there on the spot. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. All the time. I'm sweeping up nails all the time.
Is it Kirtland photography? Is that right?
Kirlian.
Kirlian photography.
Yeah.
From what I remember, the leaf experiment, like you were talking about, you get that and then you have like this outline.
Right.
But then you can actually tear the leaf, put it back down, take another image of it, and it still has the energetic original pattern as if it were not torn at all.
Yes. And that's just the sign.
That's just so cool. And I've heard the same sort of thing with people, you know, if they lost an arm, if they, you know, it's a medical thing that people still feel. They still get itches in their fingers that they no longer have, or cramps in their arm that they no longer have, sort of sensations. But when they have that sort of photography, there's this energetic field where the arm used to be. And stuff like that is just so fascinating to me.
Yeah, because the meridians, if you cut off the arm, the meridians that were running up to the point where it cut off are still there.
Yeah.
They don't go anywhere. So they're still trying to send energy to this missing arm.
And you can see it with that type of photography.
Yes.
And you're saying that this biowell is that sort of thing.
I have it a lot. People, I'll see energy going to their gallbladder or their appendix. And then I had my gallbladder removed. I had my appendix removed. Well, the meridians that lead to it are still there. And we're reading the meridians.
Wow. So do you typically go in there and talk about the device, or do you want to stay in here and
talk about the biowell?
The biowell?
Well, usually when a client comes in, we're in there. That's kind of like our consultation.
Okay.
So I'm looking at their intake form.
Okay.
I'm gathering information from that. I'm looking at the biowell, information from that, and I'm talking to them. I'm very intuitive, so I connect with them. Because some of the things you look at on the biowell, it's almost like reading tea leaves. You know, it's a lot of Chinese medicine involved in it. So I may see an uptick in energy in the lung on the right side. The right side is male, left side is female.
Okay.
You store grief in the lung. And it could be congestion or it could be grief. That's where the intuition comes in for me, because something tells me, no, ask them, are they grieving a male? And most of the time they're like, yes. Or they just had to sever a relationship with a male. And it shows up the same way in the body, like a grief.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so now I give them more options. They may have come in here for bladder issues, but I'm seeing grief. So do you want to work on the bladder? Or you want to work on the grief?
Right.
They never even told me about the grief. I can see if someone has a closed heart. You want to work on this, or you want to open up your heart? It's your choice. We can do it the next time.
Do you want to shift gears and go to the biowell, or what are your thoughts?
Sure, we can talk about the biowell.
Yeah, and then, you know, we have, I'm sure, plenty more to talk about here.
Okay, so in here, there's a piece of glass in here at a 45-degree angle, right?
Okay.
So what you want to do is you're going to take your thumb, we're going to start with the right thumb, it's at a 45-degree angle. You just want to go in and just touch it like that. You want to keep your thumb level, just touch it like that. You don't want to flex it like this, because now we're getting more like a fingerprint. We don't want that. So you just want to keep it level and just touch it. We're going to go all the way around. So it looks like your energy is a little low. So you see, this is the energy measurement here in joules. So you want that to be anywhere between 40 and 60 joules. So you're right, just below 40. So it's a little on the lower end. What I do is we take a brief look at this, and then I go and I look at the physical things to make sure there's nothing physical governing this alignment. And if there's nothing physical governing alignment, then we talk about the emotional, psychological stuff. I start asking you about your childhood, your relationships with your parents.
Gotcha.
Because now I know this alignment is governed by more emotional things. So, so yeah, this is energy reserve. We like to see that in the 70s, but your energy's low. Okay. So your body's almost in like a fight or flight right now. You know, the rest of it looks okay. It's that stomach meridian. So if you notice, this is the stomach meridian. It runs all the way down to the toe, all the way up, right? Into the eye. So I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Sebi. A lot of people who study Eastern medicine would always say in Western medicine, if something's wrong with your eyes, you start poking around in the eye. In Eastern medicine, something's wrong with your eye, you work on the stomach. Because that's part of the stomach meridian. This is the stomach meridian, it runs right into the eye. And this area actually responds to the waveform characteristics of wood. So the music that we use in there is in a particular key, but it's violins, it's acoustic guitars, it's even wood blocks being hit together.
Okay.
And you'll hear all kinds of stuff going on in your stomach. Juices and stuff moving around in it. Yes, it responds to it. For instance, if you have issues with the liver, we know that the liver corresponds to the flute. The waveform characteristics of the flute. So if you have issues with your liver, I already know I'm putting you on flute music.
That's so interesting.
And it works every time.
Okay.
I see energy going to the liver, put you on flute music, it goes down. Because the body got some help. Because anytime I see energy going somewhere, that's the body trying to send healing energy to it. If it gets some help, it cuts back, sends that energy somewhere else.
I did read that different instruments resonate with different parts of the body.
Exactly.
But I've actually never heard that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I've certainly heard different tones, different vibrations, but I've never heard different instruments. I think that's a new concept for me.
It's the waveform characteristic of that instrument. It correlates to the resonant frequency of the organ, or even emotions. So every organ has a resonant frequency. There's research like that going on all the time. So everything has a resonance frequency. This is what we're seeing now with cancer cells. So they say, okay, we can hit a certain sound frequency. It will only destroy the cancer cell and nothing around it, because we've reached the unique resonant frequency of the cancer cell. So it's amazing how, again, it's all frequency, but it's a unique frequency of those air molecules. And honestly, you don't even have to hear it. I have clients who come in here, they have hearing aids. They have to take them off in order to get an egg. You can't bring any electronics in there with you.
Right.
All of these new hearing aids are Bluetooth. So they have to take them off. They get the same benefit. They can barely even hear the sound. Because it's not about you hearing it. The sound is acting on your field. The lights are not about you seeing it. Most people go in there and fall asleep. They're not even looking at the lights. The lights are acting on your field. All right, see you in 50 minutes.
Okay. Wow. Wow, holy moly, that was great.
31 joules to 51 joules. It's a lot.
Really? I mean, I feel much better.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I do feel a whole lot better.
37 to 51. So
Wow.
So your chakras at 90% alignment. And
Gotcha. They're in line, and even though they're off to the side, they're like in line with themselves.
Well, you see this green area here?
Okay. Oh, I see.
This is where you want your chakras to be.
Well, I feel so much better, and this absolutely reflects that. That's so interesting.
All this energy that you have. And I noticed that your crown chakra is 5.2 joules, which is more than enough energy, and it's dead center, 98%. So this is usually, when I see this, I can tell this is an intuitive person. This is someone that's intuitive.
Cool.
Yeah, especially these two here. When these two are big like that, and look how big your third eye got. That was 3.4.
Wow.
It's 4.9.
Wow.
5 is perfect. That's what it's trying to be. It really worked well. Your average energy is 5.
That's
which
great.
is what this represents, 5 joules. It was 3.7 before. So you just got a huge jump in there. So I'll be able to get a much better look at you now. So here, remember when I showed you this little ring here? This is where your energy wants to be. Now you're in that zone.
It's definitely smoother.
You don't look like that anymore.
Right.
Well, everything was in here. Now you've exploded out, and I told you a good reserve would be in the 70s. You were 79.
Wasn't I like 39 or 38 before?
You were 36.
36.
Yes. It's a huge jump.
Wow.
You should be feeling that.
Oh yeah, I totally do. I feel clearer, I feel better. Yeah, absolutely I do.
But the way it blew up, I mean, it went from 3.5 and it just exploded. It looks like a planet. It's at 5.4.
Wow.
It only needs to be that big. It really got a lot of energy there. And we do that for a reason. We get you out of fight or flight, so we relax the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So when you come back, now we can focus on specific things, whether it's emotional or physical.
So wow, I feel so much better. I mean, really feel so much better.
I can see the difference.
Yeah, I feel better. I was dragging before, so it made for a tough interview. Yeah. But, no, so I mentioned that I have a little claustrophobia, and it was fine. I didn't have any issues at all. It was nice that, first of all, there was a lot of reassurance. You could leave the door open. You have the panic button.
Yes.
So there was, and once I got settled, I was in an absolute blissful state. So I'm a musician. I really I love music and sound. It seems as if there's approximately like 80 different soundboards, or my perception is, because there's different panels of wood, and it's all very like thin. You were saying it was birch wood.
Oh yes.
And it just allows the whole thing to resonate. So you have, guitar has generally 2 panels. This has, I don't know, between 80 and 100 maybe.
Yes.
And every slightest
96.
96.
Yes.
Okay. So the slightest bit of sound, it just resonates and it feels wonderful. The first thing I noticed, my stomach started rumbling, which is one of the things that I believe you set the music to target.
Yes.
If I'm getting energy work, I typically do feel this.
Yes.
And like energy work in here with sound therapy and light therapy, once again, my stomach was really, it was moving.
Yeah, that's
so I found it pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Now, are kids able to be in here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, some kids, some of them, if they're small enough and their parents small enough, they can actually get in there with the parent. I actually have a photo of that on my Instagram where I have a mom and her son in there.
Gotcha.
But kids, like I have a 9-year-old. He gets in there, he just goes to sleep.
That's great.
He goes right to sleep. So
a good friend of mine, she brings her sons here, and she says the results have been fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, what I would say to people, even if you don't believe in the healing properties of sound or light, I mean, there certainly is, but if for some reason you're a skeptic and it's just not your thing, I would say just try this out for the experience.
Yes.
I mean, it's a really unique place to be, and that the music is wonderful and the sound is very soothing. It's such a really cool experience.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of women will drag their husbands in here, and they haven't even been in the egg. They'll put him in the egg. And I had one guy come out. He said, I take this over a massage. Yeah. So, and I tell people, I have gift certificates.
Okay.
So a lot of people get gift certificates. So they're not coming in here based on their choice. It's something that was given to them.
Right.
So they don't know about any of this stuff. But I tell them, just get in and relax, and just listen to your body. You know, listen to your body when you come out, and for the next few days after you come out. So I'll get a lot of people to get in there, and they'll come out, and they're like, eh. You know, a couple of days later, I'm getting phone calls like I'm sleeping better, my focus is better.
Wow.
You know, sometimes it's a little delay kicking in for some people. Some people, they're feeling it as soon as they walk in here. I haven't even put them in there yet. They can feel the energy from the egg for the highly sensitive people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's one of my main messages, doing what I'm doing, because I'm really just trying to get out there and get it in front of people and show people that there's alternative methods to healing and wellness. And so my big message is to get out there and try it. And this is one of those things that it's unique enough that you can just go because it's unique, even if you don't believe in any of that other stuff.
Right.
But then I think that person will find that after they get in it and use the BioWell device, that there really are truly healing properties to this.
And I try to emphasize to everybody that your body is doing the work. You know, the egg is not healing you. The egg is setting you up for success. And the body knows how to heal itself.
Gotcha.
You know, I try to strip away this, you know, this thing can't heal me. No, it's not healing you. Your body's healing itself. You break a bone, all the doctor's going to do is just set you up for success.
Gotcha.
He's going to put those two bones close together. He's going to wrap it up, and the body knows how to step back together. They don't know how to do that.
Right.
The body does that. So they're just setting you up for success. And that's all this is doing. Your body knows how to heal itself.
Gotcha.
You know, I use the analogy, I say, what if, imagine you were this great artist and you could paint these beautiful pieces of art. And then somehow you get distracted or you lose interest and you don't paint these masterpieces anymore. Then you have a friend that comes along and remind you how great you are. And then now you start producing these masterpieces again. Well, it's not the friends. The friend didn't do it. They just had a conversation with you. The friend's not responsible for it. You had the ability to do it all along. You just need a little pep talk. This is a pep talk.
Gotcha.
For your body.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to mention before we wrap this up?
Yeah, if you're interested in making an appointment, they can come to the website. I have a couple different URLs. You can go to chromocymatics.com. And I made that word up, so if you can't spell that, you can just go to Harmonic Egg Maryland or harmoniceggmd.com, and that'll take you to the same site.
And how many Harmonic Egg locations are there?
Around the world, I think we're probably coming up on about 150.
Okay, in Maryland?
Globally, I'm the only one in Maryland.
There is one in D.C., right?
There's one in D.C.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Rafa's in D.C. Yes. She just opened a few months ago. Yeah.
Well, I feel like, the Harmonic Egg is fantastic, but I also feel like the person that runs the facility is instrumental in making the whole visit a pleasant visit. I've really enjoyed speaking with you and getting kind of a feel about what all this is about.
Yeah.
So you've made this even better than just this by itself.
Thank you. Yeah, you really have to want to do this kind of work. You really do. You know, if you're interested in exploring energy medicine, I think this is one of the safest ways to do it. You know, there's a lot of electronic versions of energy medicine out there. And what I liked about this, it was just all wood. It's very simple technology. You know, the only electronics in there are the speakers and the subwoofer underneath you. And that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really been a fantastic experience.
Yes.
Yeah.